We took it all. We brought them to our land. An endless night, ember hot and icy cold. The rage of the earth. We made this curse. Carved it in the blood on our backs. We did not see. We could not, but she did. And in the end...
What will I become?
Senua's Saga. Hellblade 2.
Play it now with Game Pass.
Today on CityCast Chicago, can you believe we are almost halfway through 2024? It seems like time flies even faster in the summer, which is why you don't want to miss this guide to June. It's Thursday, May 30th. I'm Jacoby Cochran, and this is what Chicago's talking about. If you're new to CityCast Chicago, welcome. This is your daily local news podcast about all things Chicago. This month alone, we had a sit down with the mayor. We talked about the history of Chicago footwork. We gave you all the mistakes to avoid at the farmer's market and ran down the best frozen desserts you can find in the city. Seriously, we got range, y'all. Plus, we're here 5 days a week. All you got to do is press play. And now, as we close the book on May, the CityCast team is here to talk about all the things we're excited for in June. And joining me is executive producer Simone Alicea. What's up, Simone?
Hey, Jacoby, how are you?
I ain't out here complaining. Also on the mic is producer Michelle Navarro. Michelle, how you feeling?
Hey, Jacoby, I'm good. How are you?
I'm going to be real. I'm going to take back the first thing I said, the not complaining, because even as I'm thinking about that halfway through the year, I don't know about y'all, but I'm feeling it physically, emotionally, mentally. But, you know, as summer is getting here, you know, those things don't just magically go away. But it does give us some things to look forward to, right? A little bit of better weather, some cool holidays, some great events going on around the city. But also you start thinking about your summer bucket list. So Simone, as we are looking forward to summer, what's one of the things you are definitely excited for?
Yeah, so I think one of the things that's on my summer bucket list for sure is folks might know that I got really big into stargazing last summer. I took a trip out to Michigan to an international dark sky park out there, and it was beautiful. I got to see the Milky Way. But as it turns out, in Southwest Cook County is the largest urban night sky place in the world, as designated by the people who designate these things internationally, of where there are really dark skies and you can see a lot of stars. So in the Forest Preserve of Cook County, the Palos Preserves, you can see some of the darkest skies just outside the city of Chicago. And so I would love to take a trip. It's about an hour southwest of me. And so I would love to take a trip out there and see some dark skies. They've got some walks coming up later this summer, but are constantly doing some astronomy programming out there, which is great.
That's what's up. I'm glad that you sort of finding more and more ways to lean into your hobbies.
Last year, I wrote a guide to stargazing for Hey Chicago, our newsletter. And so you can find that at chicago.citycast.fm. But like, it's really just kind of wild how easy it is to, it's like, go outside, make sure it's dark, look up, see stars. That's it. That's the whole hobby. That's it. That's all you got to do. My best tip is like finding a chair, because people will take like the camping chairs and then their neck hurts when they're like looking up. So you got to get like a beach chair or like a hammock or something that you can lie back in and look up so your neck doesn't hurt. But that's really it. That's all you got to know.
Go outside and look up. Michelle, what about you? What's on your summer bucket list?
On my summer bucket list, I would really love to hang out along the river more. One way is definitely kayaking down the Chicago River. I've kayaked before, but never in a city river like that. So kayaking down the river is something that I think I've been putting off for a long time because I'm a little scared of it, because I just know there's so much traffic. And the times that I've kayaked, it's been very like open water, nothing bumpy. And I've had friends tell me that when they've kayaked in the Chicago River, like, you know, when a boat comes, like you feel the wave kind of messing with you. So I'm a little scared, but I feel like it's a good goal to have, to get over that fear. And I know I'm going to enjoy it so much because kayaking is so fun.
Agree with you. It is. It's something I've been picking up more. And that fear, it's well founded. It is dangerous to be out in Chicago waters. I'm talking swimming pools, puddles, when it's raining, lake, river. So we definitely gonna be talking about some water safety in this episode. One thing that is on my summer bucket list, and I haven't gone in a couple of years, is I want to stop by the annual Puerto Rican Day People's Parade. It is a whole festival that's taking place June 6th through June 9th. But the parade, bro, is one of the most energetic, most well-attended, most like community-oriented parades that we have during the summer. And the entire festival is 4 days throughout Humboldt Park. Carnival, live music, resource fairs. So that's one of the things on my list. It's really hard to plan, as we're going to talk about throughout this month, around festivals. Like there are so many that are taking place in the city of Chicago. Like no matter what you're interested in, like whether it's food festivals, where it's literary festivals, where it's music festivals, there are so many across the city of Chicago, and they started picking up in late May, and they only going to get bigger in June. And so I feel like we need to do more than just like break them down in our monthly guides. I feel like we need an entire week to talk about Chicago's festival. Simone, you agree with me?
Well, you know what, Jacoby? You know what we have coming up this month is we're going to be doing a whole week of programming around festivals, which festivals we are going to be seeing this summer, best tips for getting around those festivals, what to eat at those festivals, and, you know, how you plan your itinerary when, you know, from Lollapalooza to you know, your neighborhood fest that's happening this weekend. And so, yeah, stay tuned for that. That is going to be coming up here in June, and I think it will be really useful and helpful.
We took it all. We brought them to our land. An endless night, ember hot and icy cold. The rage of the earth. We made this curse. Carved it in the blood on our backs. We did not see. We could not, but she did. And in the end, what will I become?
Senua's Saga. Hellblade 2.
Play it now with Game Pass.
Building off of what Michelle was just talking about in terms of wanting to be out on the river more, I've been walking a little bit more along the lake over the last couple of weeks, and the amount of people who are in the water, whether they're on boats, whether they're on kayaks, whether they're swimming, is starting to pick up. And I think that always reminds us, especially here with all of the different types of stories we've had to cover on the podcast over the last 3 years, just how important it is to be safe when you're getting out there and enjoying that summertime shower on the water. So, Simone, again, we've broken this down in so many different ways. So what are your best recommendations, things that are critical when people are on the waterfront?
Yeah, so last year we talked to Dave Benjamin, who's the co-founder of the Great Lakes Surf Rescue Project, for just exactly what you're talking about, some of these water safety tips, especially when you're out in the Lake Michigan, of the Great Lakes tends to have the highest number of drownings. You know, it's a lot of people out on the beaches, a lot of people hanging out. And some of the things that he talked about that I think are really kind of useful and that like you can really act on, like learning to watch the water and the wind. Which way is the wind blowing? Not just how windy is it, but obviously if it's quite windy, you probably don't want to go out either. Learning the signs of drowning. It doesn't look the way that everyone thinks it does, where you're like yelling and screaming and kicking. Like you really want to look for when someone has gone like totally vertical and their mouth is sort of bobbing in and out of the water. And then when you're out there swimming, if you get into a situation where you're somewhere where you don't want to be, learning to float on your back so you're not treading water and tiring yourself out, and so that somebody can come get to you or somebody can call somebody. But really, I think the biggest thing is, you know, obviously there are lifeguards out on Chicago beaches on Lake Michigan now. They have been back since Memorial Day weekend. And they're on duty from 11 to 7. But in addition to the lifeguard, it's good to have a buddy who's out there watching the water as well, just to have that extra set of eyes.
Mm-hmm. One of the things Dave really reminded me in that episode, and I by no means am an experienced swimmer, you know, but he reminded folks that even if you are a seasoned swimmer, you can also be prone to drowning. In fact, sometimes it is that ability to swim that can get us in risky situations.
Michelle, what about you? Do you have any swimming plans this month or plan to get in the water at all?
Yeah, I mean, I love to swim, but I am someone who I just feel safer in a pool, like because I
Sure.
do like to swim little my
I feel
little
that.
laps and do my little butterfly stroke, and so like doing that kind of stuff, I always feel better when there is, a barrier. There's boundaries where I'm like I can't just float into the vast lake. And so yeah, I'm really looking forward to going to my community pools. So I am really looking forward to going to the McKinley Park community pool. It's really close by. It's outside too. So even though I'm, in my neighborhood in the middle of a park, it's going to feel very like a summer vibe because I'm going to be in the sun.
So the park district right now says that outdoor pools will open by June 17, although we have seen in the past couple years that date get pushed back because there has been a lifeguard shortage. No word yet on whether that might be the case again this year. June 17 is currently the opening date.
My tip for that would be call your park district before you leave out June 17th during that week, and just check for a heads up. Sometimes the schedule might not be updated online. You can get last minute cancellations. I remember Dilla came on and he talked about pulling up on his pool and they being like, sorry, we don't have the lifeguards. We don't know when they'll be back. And so hopefully we see some improvements this year.
Yeah, Jacoby, I know that you have been on a kayak kick recently in the river, but what are you trying to be out on some other boats this summer too?
Gee, so in like my dreamy dreams, I was reading this great interview that the tribe did with the founders of Black Yacht Weekend, which is taking place June 14th through June 16th. And they're going to have like a Riverwalk happy hour and R&B cruise that people can go to on Friday. Black Yacht Weekend, really the big party. Black Yacht Day is Saturday, June 15th, where a lot of people going to be out on Lake Michigan. I think around the playpen, you see boats of a bunch of different sizes, people sort of being out there. Great music always. The food look good. The vibes look amazing. The pictures always look great. And I've never been out in the playpen during that capacity. So my dreamy dreams, I get a couple of the friends together because it looks like they got a Facebook group you can go.
So this was my question is like, do you got to know somebody with a yacht to get in? Like,
it looks like if you know somebody with a yacht, it's a simpler process. But if they got to register their boat, make sure everything is good. We had a whole episode about, what it takes to charter a boat in Chicago, right? You need a captain, you need the right protocols to be followed. And so, but it looks like they have those things organized that if you don't have a boat or know somebody with a boat, you can get in groups to either get in with a group that's going to have a boat. They might link you up with some people. You and your group might be able to call in. So it seems like they have like a good system for connecting people with different ways to participate. But there are also some, again, lakeside events, some riverside events that people can participate if they don't, feel comfortable get all the way out on the boats. But in reality, what is likely to happen, I'm likely to go 3 or 4 more times this summer, especially in June, which is kayaking, because I now live about a 20-minute walk from Pington Park. And those rentals are now open. And it's only like $30 for the first hour, $15 for every additional hour, which I'm not saying is nothing. It is a decent price, I think, for a kayak and to get out there on the river in a relatively safe way from my own personal experience thus far, knocking on a little wood.
Jacoby, you also wrote a kayaking guide in Hey Chicago as well. What are your tips for first-time kayakers?
Last time I went, we got out, we followed the tips, right? Pay attention in the class. When you're on the boat, like don't rock keep your core intact. You don't want to be rocking side to side too much. Wear your sunscreen, maybe have a hat if you want. As soon as me and Tay get out the boat, safe and sound. Also, make sure you wear clothes that you're okay with getting wet, because just splashing in the water, it's going to happen. There's no way to finesse it. But so we get out, a couple comes in, they get into the boats. Dude immediately rocks, flips his boat. is under. And now he's like in the river trying to swim, but he had like a hoodie on, like some big cargo pants. His partner had on like a dress. He immediately flipped. And so I'm talking whole clothes, heavy, soaked. So again, maybe wear shirt, lighter clothes, swim trunks, bathing suit, something that in the worst case scenario, you do flip into the water. You do not soak all your clothes that you planned on sort of going to something. So maybe you don't do it on a whim unless you got the appropriate clothes on. But yeah, I plan on getting out there a few times this summer. I'm thinking about buying a kayak in the next couple of years. I feel so into it right now. I'm not gonna lie. I feel so into it. So hopefully it's not one of those passing fads, you know?
We'll see. Hobbies, Jacoby. This is what we're about.
I will say though, we had an episode that even if you do plan on going to kayak, I will tell people another tip. It's kind of dangerous out there, not in like a fear way, but just it's a lot busy. Of boats. It's a lot of people. It's a lot going on. And it's not a real, you got to regulate yourself. You got to keep yourself, it's like driving a car, right? Keep yourself in your lane, watch out for other people.
Well, because you got to think, right? Because you've got kayakers in the river. You've got just sort of pleasure yachts, people's personal boats that are going to be coming in and out from the river out to the lake and back again.
Tour boats.
You've got the tour boats. You've got industrial boats, right, that are coming in again because you have a whole lock system that's getting us out to Lake Michigan, right? And so there is quite a lot of traffic. A couple years ago, we talked to Mike McElroy, who's the president of the Chicago Harbor Safety Committee, and he told us that it was one of the busiest waterways in the country because of all of this traffic. And like, if you are a seasoned, vessel operator, you're supposed to know these rules and you're like licensed and credentialed and everything. But like the more casual you get,
Exactly. And again, it's like a 5-minute class before they just let you get in a kayak and get on the river. Like the very first one I did was with the Museum of Science and Industry, and people can still do that. You can go out on like a conservation tour and learn about the different wildlife, plant life that lives in the river. But that very first one, at least in Chicago, it was so guided, right? They knew the rules. They were taking you through. My second one, they just like handed me a kayak and was like, all right, be back in 2 hours. And like you said, the number of different things that move through there, against a quick reminder, keep your life vest tight and pay attention in them quick classes.
You're supposed to be staying on the right too, right? Kayakers, paddle boaters stay on the right, and then watch the air conditioning outflows, right? That can bring you back toward the center. Michelle, how are you feeling now about going kayaking after hearing all this?
I actually feel a little better because I'm like already very just like conscious of these things because I've done it once before. The class was also pretty long. Maybe like they talked to us for about an hour before we all got out to the lake. The instructor was very intentional about telling us, and we had our equipment on and stuff. And so I'd like to say that, because I've done that class, I still am going to look at a little YouTube video before I go, you know what I mean? Like as a reminder of just like the basics, because YouTube won't do you wrong. Like a quick little tutorial just to refresh my memory of what to look out for. And staying on the right. Thanks, Simone, because that is something that I'm not even going to venture out anywhere else but the right.
But to go backwards, you gotta go to the other side. And so at some point you're going to have to.
Yeah, you got to cross, right? You got to make a U-turn.
You're going to have to go across the middle of that Jimmy Jam.
Yeah. So I'm like mentally preparing myself, but I'm actually really excited. Jacoby, in the month of June, what is one thing that you are looking forward to eating?
So we talk about this every summer, but it's this patio versus rooftop vibe. And Michelle, I don't think you were here last time we were having this conversation, so we got to get you in on this when it comes to like kind of restaurant vibes. And I've always been rooftops. Simone has always been patio. And we always. The argument is, I think, great on both sides, right? To be fair.
Sure, obviously. You're not going to go wrong.
Right. I think Chicago has a great variety of both. Obviously, rooftops, reservations can be hard. Things can get a little bit more expensive. But it also feels seasonal, which means you can't it's not always available to you. And so I don't know, it makes it feel a little bit more bouge, a little bit more fancy with the homies, right? And so a rooftop that I recently went to was Cindy's, which is at the Chicago Athletic Association Hotel downtown. And the rooftop is nice because, one, it feels like the vibes were a mix between you can go there and have a date night. You can go there for a happy hour. You can go there to just get a drink and be on the rooftop. You can go there for, I think, a special occasion if you want to go with your family or something. And man, the prawns were absolutely delicious. It had this amazing sauce it was cooked in that you could like dip this sourdough bread in. They were so big, but the meal was great. But one thing I didn't get was the lamb ragu. And so I want to go back and try that pasta. Again, there's like an outside deck where you can see Millennium Park, but inside where you're sitting, where the bar is, where you can get food, it's sort of enclosed. So the ceiling kind of has like a see-through vibe to it. So you're getting some fresh sunlight in there. So it was just a really nice evening. So it was a place that I wanted to go back, and it was within walking distance to the crib. And so shout out to Cindy's. It was a good night. Simone, what about you? What's something you are looking forward to eating this month?
You know, I was thinking about this, and I have just really been craving a michelada, which is it's like a Bloody Mary, but with beer instead of vodka. It's, tomato and spices and beer, and then you might serve it with a couple different things. I feel like as far as brunch cocktails go, you can either go very sweet, right? You can go with the mimosa. Or again, you can go for a Bloody Mary, which is just, I feel like it's like just a punch in the gut. It's like, hello, good morning. Like, you're here now. Like, this is why we're here. The michelada to me is like a nice in between of like, you get the calories from the beer, you still get the sort of spicy from the tomato. And actually, the spot near me, speaking of walking distance, that does it really well is Big Chicks / Tweet. On Sheridan in Uptown. It's really, really good. And they serve it with like the little tamarind candy stick too. And it is delicious. And I just like sip on that for the whole brunch and I feel excellent and it's beautiful. But that is something, I feel like it's also something I love to get when I'm out at street festivals. I will probably get one at Pride Fest later this month in Lakeview. And pretty much any festival I go to, it's just like, it's something that's cool, refreshing, but it also feels nourishing because again, it's got the beer and the tomato. So that's what I am looking forward to this month, I think.
I'm gonna be honest, I have never tried one.
Really?
I've never tried one.
Are you not that big on beer though, too, huh?
I'm not, but I mean, it looks appealing every time I've seen it. I know there's a whole festival in July, but I think the next besides Puerto Rican Festival, I could probably try it there. Or I think after that, I might go to the Juneteenth Village Fest over in Douglas Park on June 15th. They're going to have India Ari out there, Dead Prez, and Domani, who, if people not familiar with that last one, is T.I. son. And so that's going to be on the 15th. And I imagine between the People's Day Parade in Humboldt Park and the Juneteenth Village Fest in Douglas Park, I should be able to find one or a couple options between those. And so maybe this is the summer where I give it a try.
I recommend it. I think it's great. Michelle, what about you? What's something you're looking forward to eating in June?
Since it's Father's Day this month, I really wanted to take my dad to a really nice steakhouse. My dad doesn't really like going out to eat. He likes to eat at home where he's comfortable, but my dad does love steak and he does love being bougie, especially in most recent years. And so it's like, why not take him to like a really nice steakhouse? And so the one that I'm trying to get reservations at is Bavette's, which is in River North. It has 4.8 stars on Google, which, Google reviews can get a little serious. Like, people aren't the most kind. So when you see a high review on Google, and it's like over 2,000 reviews too, which was clearly a green flag for me. But I would love to take him there and just get like a nice steak and fries. And it's kind of like, it's for him, but it's also for me because I don't think I would usually spend that much money on a steak. I think like between $40 to $80 it could come out. Yeah, I never do that. But I'm like, it's my dad and I love him, and I know he's really going to enjoy the experience if we go. Like, I could already see him just kind of like light up when he sees that big steak on his plate.
That's what's up. I love a good steak. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah.
I had my physical at that last month. The doctor was like, maybe cut back on some of the steaks. You gotta start thinking about things but I love them.
It's so funny because I feel like the steak house is such a particular experience, and with the sides and just the white tablecloths and it's just such like a classic dining experience that I feel like I don't think I've done in years. Like, it's just like never occurred to me. I'm always like more interested in like trying a trendy new hip kind of spot. But
Agreed.
That is a really nice like Father's Day present, and River North is definitely the place to do it if you're going for steak.
Oh yeah. I'm looking forward to it. And then I'm just looking at the sides that they have, right? Like they have like the salads and the baked sweet potato, and I'm like, oh, I'm already thinking about like which ones we're gonna pick. Like, I'll get steak somewhere, but it's not necessarily a steakhouse.
Facts.
So yeah, I'm really excited for this.
If you got things you're excited for in June, let us know. If you're planning on getting on the water, what's a restaurant you're looking forward to? What's a street festival you're excited for? Let us know by leaving us a text or a voicemail at 773-780-0246. I want to give a huge thank you to the CityCast Chicago team. Shout out to our executive producer, Simone Alisea.
Hey, thanks, Jacoby.
And a huge thank you to Michelle Navarro.
Thanks, Jacoby.
Let me know how that steak is, my G. I want to pop over to Bavette's.
I will let you know.
Before we let you go, a quick reminder, the CityCast Chicago ecosystem does not end at the podcast. Head over to our website, chicago.citycast.fm. There you'll find the latest headlines, a packed events calendar, some neighborhood guides. Plus, we're willing to send you all of these things for free every morning directly to your inbox Monday through Friday. All you got to do is subscribe to our daily newsletter, Hey Chicago. One more thing, some good news. Join me in wishing a happy birthday to our audio producer, Michelle Navarro. G, I know you're listening to this right now while you edit it up. G, for me and the entire team, we appreciate you, your ideas, all of the things you bring to this podcast and this newsletter. It's been so fantastic getting to know you. Like we said earlier in the episode, time is flying. But hey, we are so grateful to have you here. And I hope your entire community, all your family and your friends shower you with love today, this entire week, this entire weekend. I know you're going to make it all about Michelle. Do it big, G. To the rest of y'all, be here bright and early tomorrow. Peace. P.S. If you are new to the podcast, again, and we really appreciate having you here. I don't know what took you so long. We've been here for a while. It's hard. Word of mouth sometimes don't get to you. The marketing don't always reach people. But hey, you here now. We got a whole lot of episodes in the crates. I ain't saying go listen to all 800, but go on dig through them a bit. We got some gems in there for you.